To talk to you today about our journey and how we became Hasteworks. So we're both owners,
Yes.
and we specialize in custom furniture design.
Yeah.
So before we get into all the details, we're gonna go back to how it all started.
Yes. So as a teenager, I would help my uncle restore flooring in New York City, and there I learned the basics of building, and also like the work ethic he had. Like I really was influenced by that, and I was like, damn, like this dude walks away from a project every day, and there's something physically there, and I was like, damn, like I'm really into that, like that whole feeling of it. And there I did a lot of prep work, which was sanding, filling, and the whole nine of just like the shit end of the work, you know. And yeah,
So I really wanted to have this slide just because a lot of people don't really know what haste means, or would be even surprised to know that it actually came from cycling. So Ken's gonna tell you how cycling in NYC led to haste.
yeah. So in New York City, like she said, I was big in the cycling scene, and I would enter a whole bunch of races. Had friends that were wild in the city, and I wanted to create kind of like a blog, a photo blog, in where I showcased all this and all the craziness that was happening and the fast-paced life I was living, and I decided to call it Haste. Thus, this was born. Haste meaning excessive speed or urgency of a movement or action. It was also featured as my senior project where I designed a mobile workstation slash like bike shop that sold merch as well. And that was it. After college, I got a taste of the graphic design industry and I noticed it wasn't for me. There was a lot of screen time, which I wasn't into, and I wanted to get back to building like with my uncle as a teenager. And I was on the hunt for like a more hands-on job, and a good friend told me about Urban Outfitters was hiring as a display artist, which is this unique job where you you craft on someone else's budget with yeah,
So yeah.
sorry.
No,
And
it's
then
okay.
and there I got to like learn the craft and got to see the ins and out of the industry, of how like the logistics of things, how we source materials, build things from scratch. It was a great learning experience. Got to meet a lot of people, and then I was kind of like a mentee at that point for 2 years. And then after hours, I noticed how these big companies just scrap everything. So there, I took it upon myself and started tinkering with materials like this, where I would just play around with bulbs, pieces of scrap wood. Who knows? Like the possibilities were
Yeah.
endless after hours.
So then, being that we had now first graduated, I want to give you guys a little bit of background about myself. I was also in school. We were in the same college. We both did graphic design. Like Ken, I didn't mind being behind a computer screen. So now we were at the point of our lives where we were now have stable jobs and we were able to afford our first apartment. I was lucky enough to be able to work remote from home. I was working for a startup called Robly. There I was helping them build templates for their email marketing. And being that I was home alone all the time in this somewhat empty apartment because we were still young and we couldn't really afford all of the furniture pieces that we wanted, I would be very fixated on all the things that I didn't like. So when he would come home, I would bring all these ideas to him, and then the furniture pieces would become these do-it-yourself projects.
She was like the official forever client.
So we didn't just decorate our space, we built it one piece at a time. For example, the bed frame from the platform bed, they were all made of pieces that were left over from Urban Outfitters, where they would initially just like trash these sheets, and it kind of pained to see how all of the material would go to waste. And so we were lucky enough because like it helped us save a lot of money and
Just get creative with
get
the scrap.
creative.
Like I would look at a piece of wood and like, I could make half a table with that.
Yeah. And so we did the bed frame. We also then had a TV console and coffee table. Initially, everything in our home started becoming handmade. On the only thing I would say would be like the couch,
couches. Yeah.
TV, things that couldn't be made at the time. And then my favorite project in this apartment was our kitchen. I despise how open space it was. I did not like how it just like flew into our living room. It also lacked storage. And as a quick fix, Ken made the wooden fixture that you see there. As you can see, it looks very fragile, and I hated staring at it. So I then convinced him to create a kitchen island unit that my needs were I need to have storage, I want to have a place to sit, I want to have a breakfast area. And then after bouncing a couple of ideas, we came up with this.
Yeah.
So it was like I loved it because it concealed. We had storage now. We even had a little area for our mail and a place to sit with the stools. And in New York, our alleyways became workshops. We didn't really have the space in our apartment to build, so we had to get creative.
Yeah, because the shop was so far from home, too. I couldn't picture myself carrying stuff on the train. And
we didn't have a car.
No, also, yeah, we didn't even have a car.
So a lot of the times, we'll probably ask his dad to lend us the car, and we'll go to Home Depot, and then you'll just see like a Honda.
2x4.
Yeah, just like sticking out.
It was insane.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But then I got cool with the superintendent at the building, and then got to build an alleyway.
And I feel like once we started making these, he started making these things, he would put these on the Instagram account, and from there it was well received. And from there, businesses like Canal Street Market, they're a retail marketplace. They host a space for small businesses, local vendors. So it's kind of like, I would like to say, like, if you were to be going to like an Etsy live shop.
Yeah. And their Man Repeller, this company, reached out to me to make this pop-up activation for them. It was my first big solo gig outside of urban, and here I got to create these stands for a Moroccan-themed bazaar. And there I built out those stanchions that hold a whole bunch of their merch, and a little vibey area of a sofa, like a day bed and bookshelf.
And then from there, other local businesses started to notice as well, and businesses in Brooklyn, the Lower East Side, and more businesses within the Canal Street market area.
Yeah. For example,
the wooden
towards your left, I got to build out a 25-foot like banquette that housed all their stuff and also served as seating in their tea shop. And the middle one was a Fox Fodder Farm. This girl, which is pretty big now, I built out her first flower shop.
When she was first starting, right?
Yeah, that is similar, like
yeah.
Early end, yeah. And then the one on the right was a souvenir vintage dealer at the Canal Street Market. Built out that whole setup too.
And then from there, we started picking up traction. He was very high demand, constantly getting texts, hey Ken, can you make this? Can you do this? And at the height of it all, at this moment, we weren't really seeing the bigger picture down the road. It was just more like a hobby that he had.
Yeah.
I was just help wherever I could at times because I was more focused on just like regular life. I had a stable job. I didn't have like a full business plan vision at that point. So at the height of it all,
we left it all.
Yeah, we left it all. We took our talents to South Beach. So it was an easy transition for us, being that I was remote. I can pretty much go and work from anywhere. And it was
With
like
Urban,
right?
yeah, with Urban, so there was a position out here opened, and I was like, hey, let's try it out. If we don't like it in a year, we'll just move back to New York. Ended up liking it,
Loving it.
loving it.
So then that meant starting over and redoing our apartment. So in this first apartment that we had, it had more modern features, and as you can imagine, it was just us. And we left our family back home, our friends.
Everything.
So when we were building out the living room, we wanted to make sure that it would be flexible enough to host a guest. We went to IKEA. We got this futon, and once I saw it in the space and I saw how fragile the legs looked and kind of inexpensive, I wanted to hide it. So we then built the framing, the wooden framing around it. The side pieces on the side also functioned as storage. Because we had a small space, we wanted to be able to have our guests maybe put their luggage in there or hide anything that we didn't want to see.
Right.
And being in Miami, we also had our first kid. This is one of my favorite pieces just because I didn't want to crib right away. During the infant stage, you're getting up like every 2 hours or so. So I really wanted a side bed where we can kind of just like line it with a bed. And when not in use, could still kind of secure the baby inside. Mm-hmm. And then after the first kid,
We had another
one. So
why not?
Why not? And because of that, we needed to create this. We had to move, and now we're in a bigger apartment.
Yeah.
It's still a super spacious one big bedroom. So we accommodated it so that the kids now have the room. They now have bunk beds. This is like kind of like fasting forward, but just to show you guys the work. So we kind of wanted to provide the kids with a fun bed frame, maybe something that we would have wanted to have as kids ourselves. And then from Urban.
At Urban, I was down here. I was taking more risks too. I feel like management was pretty lenient over here, and I wouldn't really ask for permission for things. For example, this was a photo op moment I decided to make in the Lincoln Rose store. And yeah, just using a whole bunch of scraps and crates that they had and just trying to get creative with whatever was available.
Yeah, and I feel like when he would do these things, it would work so much in our favor because he was able to sneak in a piece with like our Instagram handle. And being that the store was in a tourist area on Lincoln Road, a lot of the people that would stroll into the store would want to use this as like a photo op moment. So they would then tag Hasteworks, and then we'll start getting exposure that way in Miami. And Urban was even noticing the bills that were being built outside of the work, and they had featured a video on Ken
Building, yeah. Look, that's actually my cousin's backyard, which I used.
Shout out to our cousin.
Which I used as my work studio for a while before showing up to Moonlighter.
Yeah, so this particular project was
her house.
Her house. We had to create a room divider that would also function as a bookshelf, mm-hmm. and would also kind of like a small little room in a sense, because it also had a door. Like you go into the apartment, it's super nice marble floor, and then if you wouldn't know, you wouldn't know that there's a bed there because it all looks like a complete bookshelf unit. And then from there again.
Demand kept growing.
Yes, the demand kept growing. At this point, I was able to ask a full-time job to work with us with hours. I was lucky enough to be able to then become part-time, and then I was now more involved in the business. At this point, I started realizing, we actually needed to take this serious. this could be, you know, like our business down the line, just both of us working it full time. And I started helping out with the client communication at this point, the design process, and installing as well.
Yeah.
And
on my end, it was super tough just because I felt like I was spreading myself so thin. Working full time and then working full time for a company and then working full time for myself. And I was battling. I'm like, damn, like it's a good gig. They have benefits. I got kids. It's a lot to think about. And I don't know. I would pitch them if I could go part time, and they weren't flexible at all. And so I did what any parent of 2 kids would do. I quit. But I'm so grateful that I did, just because like it opened so many doors, and I got to build other relationships that probably would have never happened if I didn't do so, you know?
yes, and I'm so grateful too, because I just love what I do now. And, you know, our clients, the connection that we build with them is like very personal. We're in their personal space, and some of our clients even become our friends. And this next slide is going to be some of our favorite projects that we have done while we've been in Miami, just so you guys can see a taste of what we love to do. And thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. So now we're gonna leave space for if you guys have any questions for us. And if not,
What's next?
what's next? That's a great question. I feel like for us, we would want to then now focus more on selling smaller products, like for home decor. We would also like to expand to doing a merch line as well.
Yeah.
We're currently working with Vaco Studios, who's helping us rebrand. So I feel like once that's done, we will be able to really
Feel
comfortable
like,
pushing,
yeah.
you know, products and merch.
Once everything's aligned, I feel like it'll work easy. It'll work out easier for us, you know.
Anybody else? No? Okay, perfect. So now we're gonna start the process of the mini workshop. Today we're gonna show you guys. It's a quick assemble.
Yeah.
Let's show them.
It's a mini little
It's a little table,
that we've made in the past. Is just a mini size of it.
just so you guys can take something home to remember us by. But it's fairly easy.
So I think it's
Sorry, yes, this is what it's gonna look like. And this is the how-to.
yeah.
So in your kit that you're gonna be receiving, you're gonna have a plexi base, the tabletop, and then the legs of the dining table. We'll also be having an instance so that you guys can prepare it. Should be fairly easy.
And it's all made from scrap materials. So
That we've had from
and
projects.
everything's randomized. So I don't know if you see a friend that opened up one that's a little different, you could trade pieces.
And then I'm trying to figure out on this one. Okay.
Yeah.
So then it will just look like something like this. Yours will look so much better because it's
Yeah,
actually.
this is the rough.
This is just like a rough,
prototype.
yes. But yeah, it'll look something like this. And then I think Now would be a good time to kind of transition into the tables that we have on
Yeah.
the sides and the back. And then we'll go around and hand out the kits to you guys.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Great job,
Thank you,
guys.
thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.